tips not to do in USJ. If you're visiting USJ for the very first time, make sure you do not follow these tips. I mean, you wouldn't want to have a good time, right? Subscribe to my channel.
Number 1. Arrive an hour ahead of USJ's opening time. The park will open its gates 30 minutes prior to official time. We arrived an hour earlier, but there were so many people. Visit Super Nintendo World first to safeguard your entry. If you're visiting Super Nintendo World via normal entry tickets, you will be competing with others to enter as it was newly launched. Entries into Super Nintendo World will be restricted to avoid huge crowds. If you do not receive an entry slot via USJ app, you won't get to visit. I visited USJ on the 2-day basic pass and failed to get an entry slot on my first day. On day 2, I had to sprint to the theme area upon USJ's opening and secure my slot. Purchase an express pass, no fret. Your express pass comes with a reserved entry time slot. Be sure to arrive at the entrance of Super Nintendo World at designated time. Late reserved entry time slots will be denied. Number 3. Purchase express pass. Have a peace of mind and purchase express pass for a reserved time entry. Highly recommended if you're only visiting USJ for a 1-day trip. Express passes are limited per day. Do purchase before they are all sold out. Express passes come with variety choices for all ages, which include Jord, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, Flying Dinosaur, etc. You can purchase your express pass on sites like Cook. Remember to buy a regular USJ pass, as express passes do not cover park entry. Number 4. Purchase a power-up wristband at Super Nintendo World. Power up your wristband and collect coins around through blocks and minigames. Each wristband costs 3,200 Japanese yen, with many designs to choose from. Link it to your smartphone to see your progress and scores. Did your name appear here? Number 5. Download the USJ app. This is your to-go app when you're in USJ premises. Download it to fully enjoy the park. Check attraction wait times via the app, which helps as USJ is huge. And getting time entry tickets to Super Nintendo World. Number 6. Donkey Kong Expansion 2024. The Donkey Kong theme area is set to open in 2024 at Super Nintendo World. It will feature a roller coaster ride, café, and more. Donkey Kong area is set within a lush jungle where waterfall can be seen in the backdrop. Be sure to check it out in 2024. I really appreciate you watching my days spent in USJ. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and check out my upcoming months, where I traveled across Japan to experience culture and cuisines.